Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we've just finished going over the first half of the NFL Power Rankings. We're going to finish that up starting at 16 to 1 for the top half of our NFL Power Rankings. But before we get into that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for taking the time out of your Labor Day to talk some sports with me here on the Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. But we're going to finish off our show today in style, finishing off the NFL Power Rankings. Starting at number 16, we have the Colts, led by Anthony Richardson. He's a guy that I really believe in. One of the most polarizing, most burning questions, I would say, of the NFL this year is what Anthony Richardson will be, because he will go, or the Colts will go as he goes, right? Anthony Richardson could be an MVP candidate. He gets comps to Cam Newton. He gets comps, to all these great quarterbacks before him. He has all these physical tools, but we haven't seen it yet. He could also flop, right? This is a guy that I think will be really good, but I understand if people don't. I'm being cautious putting them at 16 for now. At 15, we have the Bills. Josh Allen is going to be great. Josh Allen is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, but the rest of the Bills team is not up to standard, especially the defense. You could handle it, all the losses they had. You probably could a little bit, but losing Matt Milano to injury before the season starts, once again, is a gut punch. Matt Milano, when he's on the field, that Bills defense is so much better. It's worlds better than when he is not on the field. That hurts because they've already lost their secondary, the entirety of it. You lose Tre'Davious White due to cap reasons. Same thing for Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, right? Your safety duo, your top corner, these are all gone. This is a stripped down Buffalo Bills defense, and it's not going to be enough. Josh Allen is not going to be enough to really propel them to the top 10 this year. The Bills are in at 15. At 14, I have the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams have a healthy offense now. They do lose Aaron Donald, but Matthew Stafford's supposed to be healthy. You get a healthy Cooper Kupp for the full season. This is going to be a not fun offense to go against. They have a really good linebacker core. They just traded one of their best linebackers away, but they already have a replacement who went off in the preseason. This is a really good Ram team. They slot in at number 14. At 13, we have the Falcons. They were a solid team. They have a really solid offensive line, one of the best corners, one of the best safety duos. You bring in Matthew Judon to fix a pass rush that's been anemic for almost 10 years now. Now, you also have Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins come in with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. This is a really good Falcons team. They slot in at 13. At 12, we have the Browns, and this is another quarterback question. Is Deshaun Watson going to be able to return to form? I personally lean towards no, but that defense is so good, I can't slot them really much lower than I have them right now. Myles Garrett is going to do his thing, maybe win back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year. We'll see. We'll do an awards prediction later on this week. At 11, I have the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys just miss out on the top 10 because their running back room is abysmal. The offensive line, I think, took a hit as well, but the rest of that team is really good. You lose Deron Bland for a little while. That sucks. But a running back room of Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and Rico Dowdle are not inspiring as you head towards a season that Dak is going to ask for $65 million at the end of it. This feels like the end of the window, even if they are ready and willing to sign Dak to that big of a contract extension. This really feels like the last kind of hurrah for this team, and I don't think they're quite going to make it. At 10, we have the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love gets himself a nice big contract. The Packers are kind of set. They go about 6 deep with a bunch of really young wide receivers. I expect a couple of those guys to really take the next step this year. The defense is going to be really good, led by Jair Alexander. This Packers team is one of the best in the entire NFC. At 9, we have the Eagles. They play the Packers Friday night in Brazil. The Eagles add Saquon Barkley, and I can get over, I think, their collapse last season because this is a team that's just too good. Hopefully the whole drama between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts is overblown. With that, then the Eagles could be good, but if not, this is dangerous situation for the Eagles to be in. They're just on the fringe of the top 10 at number 9. At 8, we have the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans sit at number 8. CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie quarterback seasons in the history of the NFL. Maybe better than Andrew Luck's. This was really, really good. The Texans are atop their division right now. They add Stephon Diggs. The defense improves. DeMeco Ryans, one of the best defensive coordinators a couple years ago, breaks into the league breaks into the head coaching ranks immediately. He's a finalist for the coach of the year there. The Texans are going to be really good. But there are some worries because this is such a young team. We need to see CJ Stroud do it again. I'm not too concerned. The Texans are very good. They slot in at 8. At 7, the New York Jets. I am an Aaron Rodgers believer. A lot of people aren't, and that's fine. We haven't seen him really play football in a whole year. But just 2 years ago, he was still considered a top 10 quarterback, and you add a top 10 quarterback to the Jets with a team that has an elite defense at all 3 levels. They got some nice weapons. Garrett Wilson is still there. Breece Hall is still there. Add Mike Williams. This is a team that is flush with weapons right now. And the Jets, if they just had competent quarterback play, they would have made the playoffs last year. And Aaron Rodgers is going to give you more than competent quarterback play. They slot in at 7. At 6, I have their division rival, the Miami Dolphins. Tua locked into a massive contract. Tyreek Hill is one of the best receivers in the league. That offense is going to go, just like they did last year. They extend head coach Mike McDaniel. Yeah, it's absolutely worth it. I heard a couple people say it wasn't worth it, which I don't understand. How are you not convinced on him? He did everything you want a head coach to do. The Dolphins are in at number 6. And now we've reached our top 5. At number 5, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow returning from injury. That defense, this is the last year. I think it's truly going to be really good. Trey Hendrickson is probably gone. So is T. Higgins after this year. We don't know what's going on with Jamar Chase. They're down at 5, but with all those pieces there, this is one of the best teams in the NFL. They stick at 5. At 4, the San Francisco 49ers. I can't put them above a couple of these top 3 teams simply because Trent Williams is not playing. And until Trent Williams plays, I don't think the 49ers are a top-tier team in football. Now, all right, let me rephrase that. I don't think they're the top-tier team in football. They're still a top-tier team, right? You still have everything at every other position. You could go down the list. They're stacked everywhere. Wide receiver, tight end, defense, offensive line, right? They're stacked, but you need Trent Williams there. I think he's their best player. For now, they're at 4, although they could move all the way up to 2 once Trent Williams comes back. At 3, I have the Detroit Lions. I love what they did. They lost a little bit on that wide receiver room. They still have Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they kept their guys. They paid Penei Sewell. They paid Jared Goff. They paid Amon-Ra St. Brown. They paid Decker, right? They built in-house a championship level team, and now they're keeping it together. That's what you got to do. I loved their draft, getting a couple corners. It's a lot of youth, but I think the Lions will be very good. They slot in at number 3. At number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens, led by MVP Lamar Jackson. You bring in Derrick Henry. This is the best supporting cast he's ever had. Still an elite defense. You lose Patrick Queen, but this defense is still going to be really good. It's not going to be the best in the league like it was last year, but it should be enough, especially with the amount of weapons that the Ravens now have to surround Lamar Jackson with. And finally, at number 1, that means we have the Kansas City Chiefs. The back-to-back defending Super Bowl champions looking to make a three-peat for the first time in the Super Bowl era, you just can't argue with Patrick Mahomes at one. They give him weapons, something he didn't have last season. Chris Jones still anchors that defense, a defense that was really solid last year. They did lose L'Jarius Sneed, which is tough, but I still believe in this Chiefs team. Someone has to dethrone them. They're up at one until someone can prove that they can beat that team in the playoffs. But let me know what you think. Again, Chiefs 1, Ravens 2, Lions 3, Niners 4, Bengals 5, Dolphins 6, Jets 7, Texans 8, Eagles 9, Packers 10. That's my top 10. You can go listen to the rest of the list further on back in the podcast, but let me know what you think. Anything that I had way too high, way too low, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Throw that in the comments. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the AP 25 that comes out, do a little bit of NFL predictions, NFC and AFC playoff edition, maybe some awards, and any other major breaking news that happens in the world of sports in the next 24 hours. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Labor Day. Appreciate you all for tuning in, talking some sports with me today. You've been listening to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. See you same time, same place tomorrow. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.